Welcome to the Side Action Podcast, the sports gambling show that covers everything in the world of sports betting from A through Z. We'll cover the four major sports, as well as anything and everything in between worth some action, and will increase the size of your bankroll. And here we go.
All right, welcome to the Side Action, episode 13 of season 7. My name is Jim Weglars, aka Wegs. You can follow me on X and Instagram at Wegspool.
And I'm Coop. You can check me out on Instagram at Dalton Cooper and on X at Mr. Grumpy Gills. We are the Side Action Podcast. Don't forget about following us on TikTok as well. So I know that's Wegsy Pooh's, golden child, baby darling. What would you say? Yeah,
it's my baby. We're building up those followers. I mean, there's massive amounts of followings on TikTok now.
Hell yeah.
And they're mostly from Asia and Russia, but that's okay.
Nice.
We accept
all
nothing. Not nothing. We have some loyal listeners, as we've discussed. So anyway, how was your Friendsgiving, and did you win at poker night? That's what I wanted to know. Did you win?
Wegsy. I totally forgot about poker night, and I was hoping to never talk about it again. So no, it was a cash game, $20 buy-in, right? So the first knockout I had, I lost to a full house and I had 2 pair. So, and he rivered the full house.
Oh.
So I was like, of course. I was like, all right, whatever. So I buy back another 20, and probably an hour later, I'm near chip leader at this point.
Nice.
Somebody rivered a straight to double up on me. It was a small stack. It was like, I don't know, maybe 10% of my stack. So I was betting my 10% against all of it. So then I lost that, and I kind of played pitch for a while, and then I got all in against the big stack of the table. I already had 2 pair going into the turn. I had flopped 2 pair, and he full house the next 2 cards to knock me out, and I was done after that, because it literally went runner. He got the exact 2 cards he needed. He got like a 9 and a 10 or something. Yeah, and I was like, this is just unreal. Yeah,
rigged.
Yeah, so just I forgotten. Yeah, it was all right. It was a good time. Yvonne was a good host. So yeah, absolutely. It's a good night out with the fellas. But yeah, Friendsgiving was good.
Yeah.
We had the projector in the garage. Oh yeah.
Okay.
Got that going. We had the red zone on that, and then you had, because Papa Moon cut the cable, right? So we had the internet got cut the night before. Yeah, because Steph had asked him to, I guess, rearrange a bunch of useless cables that had been in the closet for a minute. So in that rummaging and removing, he cuts the internet cord to the house. So we're hot spotting in the garage, and then I brought my lightning cord over for the living room television. So they had the Bears game upstairs, which was not worth watching at all. We'll get into.
That's why it should have been cut in the first place.
No kidding. So, but no, it was a good time. Food was good. We got the turkey deep fried and situated, and it's a good time. It's a good time.
Yeah.
I would love to get a smoker here, honestly. We don't have one here. Just even for like volleyball, did I have the smoker going?
Sure.
Oh, God, yeah.
Be a big hit. And then I know you may not want to bring it up, but I just want to condolences to Grandma. You had a passing, so
Oh, thank you. Yeah, you had the arrangements next week, if you will. So I'll be going back to Ohio.
Okay, gotcha. Well, mine wasn't too crazy. I had to do some prep for the old pool party. We did have a small turnout, but it was okay. It was great until I was getting challenged on tequila, specifically Hornitos shots, and I felt pretty good for a while. We watched, after we went to the pool and hot tub for a while, it gets dark pretty fast. We came up to my place. There's like 6 of us. We watched whatchamacallit, Austin Powers, the original.
Nice. Hell yeah, good choice.
And it was one of my friends who's, it's like her favorite movie. We're kind of teasing her about it, that could a comedy be your favorite movie, whatever. And then
I make you own it, baby.
Exactly. I stand up, I start cleaning up, they all leave, and I'm just like, man, I gotta sit down for a minute. Passed out till 4 a.m. Like, Got up
Nice.
with a horrible headache. So yeah, the tequila got me, baby.
Oh,
Played a
yeah.
little bit of volleyball on Sunday, but not too much. And then, as you referenced, yes, I have a visitor. Whitney's here for a few days for the weekend. So
Nice.
she got in on Tuesday. I've been working most. I feel terrible. I'm like, so I'll see you. I mean, we've done stuff at night, but not like too much. I had like a whole conference all day yesterday. She met me out
Nice.
after the conference. Got to speak. Got to be a little public speaker. Get on a
Yeah, there
panel.
you go.
Use the podcast voice for once, for good, not evil. But yeah. So then and really it's going to come quickly. We'll talk about later um, next week and stuff. But yeah, next couple of weeks, a lot of visiting, and then I'll be flying back to the mainland soon.
Nice. Nice. Hell yeah. Well, at least it's sunny there. It looks like maybe you're going to keep your skin color a little, and the rest of us are not, unfortunately.
Yeah, my arms are very tan. It's sunny every day. It's been actually raining a lot lately, a lot of rainbows, but it's just more of a sprinkle, rain for like 15 minutes. And then it's windy as hell, like 30-mile-an-hour winds all the time. It's hilarious. So when we were up on the pool deck, Whitney and I were grilling Wednesday on the pool deck, and it was just like batten down the hatches. It's just like hang on to everything. This gust comes through.
By the way, you can't mix Hornitos in the hot tub. Like the heat with the ticket, it'll dehydrate you, and then that's what gets you right there. That'll get you every time. By the way,
yeah.
So I remember reading that in front of Linnea, and I was like, "What the hell are Hornitos?" And she's like, "I don't know." And I was like, "I don't know either." So but the way it was worded to me, I was like, "Oh yeah, he must have had a few too many of them, whatever they were." So I had
Exactly.
I'm glad to hear the backstory of that.
Usually it's okay to be Hornito in the hot tub.
Ayo.
But yes, if you have too many of those, it took me down, bro. It took me down.
Yeah.
So who we take into the shed this week besides myself in the hot tub? Who do you got on the list? There's some interesting questions here.
Yeah, right. Well, Jack Del Rio is the first man up on the shed. So he's a senior advisor. Well, I guess he was a senior advisor for the Wisconsin football team under head coach Luke Fickell. But he no longer works there because he got charged with the DUI. But the reason why he's going to the shed is that they found that they drove into somebody's yard, and that's what kind of stopped him. And I guess he was walking away from the car when somebody alerted the authorities or whatever. So you would think a man of that situation or that stature would be able to call for a ride share or maybe call somebody to come get him. So we never condone that. So for that, in the shed, and then I'm putting the whole AFC South in the shed. So
the entire we need to build the entire more sheds.
Yeah, the entire division's going in the shed. So the Colts, they might just be bad, unfortunately. So they're going back to Anthony Richardson. We all thought Joe Flacco would be the answer, but that hasn't worked out very well. Houston lost at home after getting 5 interceptions. The Jags didn't allow a touchdown, but yet still found a way to lose. And then obviously the Titans are still being the Titans, and they lost by 10 to the Chargers. It was never close. So whole division's in the shed. I don't know what's going on. Just get in there. Just get away.
Get in there. Flacco knows Club Dub, but he's going to have to learn his way around the shed after he can show the whole AFC South in there.
Life comes at you fast. That's what I would tell Joe Flacco.
What have you done for us lately, Joe Flacco? Forget about your, performances in past Super Bowls or last year in the Cleveland. Last 2 weeks, you get in there. Well, my shed, I should have added more than one kicker, but I had to add Jake Moody for San Francisco, the kicker. I mean, Coop from Atlanta was similar. He missed 3 field goals as well. But really, I'll be honest with you. This is a personal situation. It's a pick. We picked you, San Francisco, in the contest. You're laying like 5-6 points or something. This dude couldn't make a goddamn field goal to save his life. He misses 3 field goals of varying distances. None of them were like 60. And these were like regular distances. I understand he came out of out of an injury, and even Debo got pissed. People were blasting Debo for getting pissed. He's getting pissed because they're moving the ball and you can't get any points. And then the worst part about it is they drive down for the game-winning field goal and he makes it. Dude, miss that one so we get a chance to go in overtime to cover the number. I mean, give me a break. So thanks for winning the game at the buzzer, but not covering the number, Jake Moody. So get in the shed with the AFC South, okay?
It must be a Jake thing because Jake Elliott was bad last night too.
That's true. And then the Jets in general. Why was this team steamed in Arizona? Can we stop trying to make the Jets happen? Okay, they suck. They suck every week. What are they? They're terrible. 2-7, maybe 3 wins. I don't know. They're terrible.
3-7. Yeah,
3-7. They just stink. They need to fire the interim coach now. I mean, honestly, they fired Saleh probably 2 weeks too early to send a message. They never, offensive coordinator to be fired, but whatever. In the end, I don't understand why the money keeps coming on this team. Everybody pumps up this defense. They stink every goddamn week. And Arizona just ran all over, did whatever they wanted to them. So, guess what, Jets? You, along with the AFC South, get in our expanded shed for the week.
The shed's big this week.
It's huge. It's gigantic. Reinforced steel walls. It's like a vault. Fort Knox.
Well, who'd you have in Club Dub then? Yeah.
Club Dub, let's flip the script. A former Jet, by the way, is my first pick. Oh, not a Jet for very long, actually. Wide receiver Mike Williams, who was traded midweek. He catches the go-ahead touchdown, an eventual game-winning touchdown. And it was a third down bomb. I don't know if you saw the play. I'm sure you did.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, Wilson put up, and it's a great throw by Wilson for Pittsburgh, right? But if you look at that play, it's one of those plays. I mean, he is all the way bowed over, looking over the shoulder, has to change direction, catches it, touchdown pass. Mike Williams, they thought that you were done. Hell no, you get the game-winning touchdown for the Pittsburgh Steelers, win the game, and you noted he only played 9 snaps to do it.
Yeah.
So there you go.
That was his only target of the game right there, was that one catch. Only target.
That's all you need. And then my other team is, since we're just putting teams in, right? Let's just keep putting teams in. It's the Chiefs. My God, these goddamn 15 straight games they've won. 9 games they've been trailing in the second half. This game, they were dead to in there, but it's one of the up their ass. It's just insane. They're going to lose this game. They maybe played a little too coyly, like we're going to get this done easily. They ran it down to 2 seconds. They didn't have as much urgency. And it was like a jailbreak in the middle of that line. If that one guy didn't block it, they had like 3 other field goal games. And, you put up an off it from that if you flipped all their results, in all those 1-score games, they'd be like 2-7 this year, but they are obviously not.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. The what if standings? Yeah. Those are my favorite.
So who you got in Club Dub this week? More teams. We like teams.
We do like teams. So I have the Eagles on the cusp of last night. They've currently won 6 straight games. The defense is finally starting to come around after the bye week. I think the most they've given up was 23, and that was to the Jags, who also got a defensive score in that game. So technically, however you want to count that. They're obviously playing really good complementary football. Saquon's a beast. Like, if they can actually get their head coach to stay out of their way, I think this might be a contender to fight for the Lombardi Trophy. So they are in Club Dub. And then I can't believe you haven't brought this up one bit yet, but we had college basketball start a couple weeks ago, I think.
I know.
So we're putting the Kentucky Wildcats in there, baby. They beat the Duke Blue Devils on Tuesday night. So
Cooper Flag can be beaten.
Yeah. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, anytime you beat a ranked team, we're gonna put you in Club Dub. Maybe that's kind of a new rule we got.
Yeah, no, I know college basketball started. I love it. We just have a lot of content, so I don't want to get people clouded up. But there's been some really good games. I mean, Kansas and North Carolina was a good game. There have been some good ball games, and so yeah, of course, Kentucky get in there. I wanted to say we don't talk about specifically on the index in our on the pod at this point. But Eagles, I don't know if you noticed, they were number 1 in the index last week. They have been climbing steadily. It's because of that defense, like you said, because obviously Fangio's been having something happen. He's been at first early in the year. I didn't think it worked. I thought, oh my God, like maybe Fangio's cooked. They just don't know what they're doing. The last 4 or 5 weeks, they've been really getting it done.
Getting it done.
Let's switch to college football. We're getting kind of close to the end of the season here, but we're recapping week 11. We had a bounce back week. Nice job, Coop. First of all, Ole Miss. This was a game that we did not list in the picks. I don't believe. Or maybe you did, but Ole Miss beat Georgia actually badly. We did talk about it's Beck. Is that right? Carson Beck, who turns the ball over. Guess what? Did some more.
Yeah.
But more importantly, Jackson and Dart played really well. The whole team played well. So the Reds actually got the win 28-10. This game wasn't even really close. So that kind of puts in question Georgia now with a couple of losses. And so we'll see what happens come when they decide the playoffs. I mean, they still have, I guess, an outside chance to make it in some kind of way. I don't know. There's not a lot of, there's no undefeated teams in the SEC. So there's a chance they can still be on in the SEC championship game. And then Michigan, you did make this call. They played very tough at Indiana, a little bit of a look ahead spot for Indiana. They actually had a real chance to win the game. If you're watching the game, I was like, oh my God, they're going to win this one.
They got a touchdown on that interception they got like at the 6-yard line instead of kicking a field goal.
I know.
Crazy.
They end up losing 20-15, but covering, I think it was a 14-point spread at the end. We talked about a little bit about Army. This wasn't the game we thought it was going to be, but Army does win the game and covers the number, but they only won 14-3. That I think this was like a 65-point total. Coop. It was like, dude. So that fell way short. I know we talked about this. Bama against goes to the Bayou against LSU, and they just whooped the shit out of them. I don't know what happened there. Milroe made a good play for the Heisman in this one. Played incredibly. They won 42-13. So did you get to watch this game at all and just think Milroe was the guy? You think he's going to get to the top of the Heisman ranks?
I don't know. It was mostly his legs. I mean, they were playing in the pouring rain too, so that also helps kind of his mobility and not so much of his pocket presence. So I don't know if it catapults him up the Heisman rankings. I still think Dylan Gabriel's got to be up there because Oregon's still undefeated. So I feel like that it might be and Ashton Genty might still be higher than him, in my opinion. I mean, what he's doing is just ungaudy. So.
Talk about the next one. Cam Ward was the leader before. It's not that he played like garbage, but Miami and Georgia Tech, man, the Ramblin' Wreck at Georgia Tech, they got it done. They win the game outright, 28-23. There was a kind of a scant moment or two that I thought Miami was going to come back again. They've had a couple of situations where they've come back from big deficits, but give Georgia Tech credit. They made some big plays. They forced a big fumble on Ward late. That was kind of the big difference in the ball game. So yeah, Georgia Tech winning 28-23. So now Miami may not even win the ACC, or get in the playoff unless they win the ACC. So that was a big result. You talk about your team. I know this is your dark horse for the ACC. And Clemson, they get the win. They win 24-14 in this game. So good job on that call. Congratulations. And the Buffs, they keep rolling. They won at Texas Tech, and they were down early in this game, but they just keep scoring. I mean, this team's offense is on another level in that conference, 41-27. Your guy, Hunter, pretty good ball player. Not a bad ball player.
Yeah. Their defensive line is a lot better. That's why that's why Colorado is actually, I would say I don't want to say a real team, but at least they're formidable. Like, you have to play well.
Right.
For sure.
So the only blemish you had was Fresno State, the Bulldogs. They lost to the diminutive Air Force team, 36-28. They run that damn triple option and it worked. So what are you gonna say?
Screwed the pooch.
You can't be perfect, dude. 3-1's a good way to go. But let's look at Week 12. The games that we're gonna look at. Speaking of the ACC, Pitt actually lost again this last week, so we maybe shouldn't have included this game, but there aren't a lot of great games to pick from what I could see. Clemson is at Pitt this week. They're 10-point favorites on the road, 54-point total. This is 11 o'clock in the morning Central. Are you going any other way but Clemson here, or is that just, do you think Pitt actually bounces back after 2 straight losses? Come back.
No, Clemson rolls. I think Clemson's going to be able to, control. I think Pittsburgh's also in a downward spiral. Like you said, they've lost 2 straight. I just think morale is kind of leaving the building, and I think Dabo's going to have everybody ready to play. And Clemson's been playing better as of late. The last, 5 or 6 weeks, they've been up there in probably the top 10 as far as, the eye test of who's playing well.
Right, exactly. This is another big game in the SEC. Tennessee at Georgia, which was probably more anticipated than the game last week. So, maybe it was a look-ahead spot in that case for Georgia. There's a 9-point favorite at home, 48.5-point total. This is at 6:30 p.m. Central. I don't know, man. I know that Georgia will come back with a vengeance, but can they come back with a vengeance? Are they as good as we think they are? We talked last week that you thought they were the best team besides that first half against Alabama, but they stubbed their toe last week. Tennessee's been playing pretty solid all year. 9 points seems like too much to me, but what do you think?
I just don't know, to your point, what Georgia team. I mean, they have the best win in the country, in my opinion, by going. So it's really hard to know if you're going to get the Carson Beck who's going to turn the ball over, or if you're going to get the efficient Carson Beck. So I think, to your point, I think 9 is too many. I'd probably go closer to 7 if you wanted to tease it down and tease the over, because I think we're going to get an over game here. Everybody feels like this is going to be an under game. I think it's going to be an over game. I just feel like this one's going to swing in the other direction. Both defenses have shown their susceptibility, and Tennessee's been a little, we kind of noted this a couple weeks ago, but they're a totally different team against, SEC teams as opposed to who they played in the beginning of the year.
Right. Last game I could identify that was kind of like a solid squads is BYU at Kansas. Kansas has not had a great year, but, they obviously are a preseason darling, both on this podcast and elsewhere. But BYU has been the surprise team of this division, and that's Big 12. So you're talking about, and they actually almost lost to Utah, but they're still winning in the top 10. But Kansas is favored here, 3.5 points at home, 55.5-point total. It's a late game, 9:15 p.m. Central Time. I mean, do you think the wrong team's favored? BYU's been playing great. Or you just think it's just because BYU's wheels are coming off, or what's happening?
Well, BYU has -2.5 on ESPN.
Oh, okay. I flipped it. Okay, so it's the other way.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I like Kansas here. Kansas actually just had an upset win of Iowa State too. They put like 50 on them. So I think Kansas is a good team. They just got out of the gate really poorly. I think they just needed to stumble into finding themselves. And BYU should have not left Utah with a win. I think it might be kind of fraud city, if you will. And I think the speed is going to give BYU issues. So I like the Jayhawks.
Okay. All right, my mistake. 2.5-point dogs at home. Okay. So
no, they're on the road.
Who's on the road?
Kansas is at BYU.
Oh, did I screw that up completely? Okay, well that's why I had it. Kansas, BYU. Got it. All right, sorry everybody. I had
put that
incorrect. Okay, so road. Okay, even a bigger one. Road win. You think they're going to covers 2.5? They'll probably win the game out. So how about your picks this week? You've got a couple we've talked about and a couple you haven't.
Yeah, so I like Kansas State to cover on the road against Arizona State. Kansas State is still kind of in the Big 12 race. They could maybe backdoor their way into the playoffs. They probably have to have a little bit of help from Colorado and such, but they still have a lot to play for, and I don't think Arizona is going to show up to play. I just think this is like a motivated versus unmotivated matchup. Like, it's more psychological at that point. So like we mentioned before, I have Kansas at BYU. I like Clemson -10.5 or -11, whichever one, at Pitt. And then I also have Oregon -13.5 at Wisconsin. So it's a 4:00 Eastern game, so you don't have to really worry about the early start for Oregon. And I think they'll come out and roll. They'll make a statement. So best team in the country for a reason. I think their defense will shut down Wisconsin, and it's going to be. I almost take the under. I don't remember the over under, but I would take the under because I don't think Wisconsin's going to score more than 14 points. So
Kansas State -7.5. Kansas on the road +2.5. Then you like the bigger favorites. Clemson -10, 10.5, 11, and then Oregon -13.5. Good.
Oh yeah.
Oregon looking good. So we'll see if I guess they'll have another crack at Ohio State to play. In the Big Ten title game. That'll be. Move to the NFL here. I said it last week. Oh yeah, favorites are kicking ass. Favorites are kicking ass, except last week. So it was 3-11 against the spread. So underdogs came back in a big way. It was insane. You're also starting to see, I've charted that 4 of the games last week were teams won but didn't cover the spread. So that that's a very abnormal number. Usually you have 1 or 2 games. You had 4 out of 14, which is a pretty big percentage. You're still on the season about 15, 16% that, favorites that win that don't cover. But, and then the unders came way back 4-9-1. So it's kind of interesting. Normally you do correlate underdogs and unders, but in the beginning of the season that never happened. Now that was actually correlated for a week. So wait, it only took 10 weeks for the correlations to work. And guess what? We had a better week. Coop. We did better. I mean, not perfect, but we did better. So the Saints, they did get the dead cat bounce game. Should they have won this game? Probably not. Atlanta had like 450 yards of total offense, but when you miss some field goals, that's what happens. And the Saints won the game outright, 20-17. It was a big MVS game. 2 big touchdowns in this game. Where was he all season?
Was he? He wasn't on the roster, was he? I thought he was somewhere else.
I don't even know. Was he? Did they just
I thought he
pick
was
him
in
up in a
Kansas
trade
City
or something?
I thought
Well,
he
he
was in
was,
Kansas
but I
City.
don't think he was at the beginning. I think they traded him, or he was cut or something in the offseason. He definitely wasn't on Kansas City this year, but
Yeah.
was last year. We mentioned the San Francisco game, the 3 missed field goals, whatever. They win the game but lose, don't cover the number. Love the Denver side. We just talked about how the Chiefs won but didn't cover. They lose 16-14, and they were up 14-10, so they kind of couldn't score in the second half. But 8.5 was way too big. Oh, Joe Flacco. Come on, Joe Flacco. The Colts, we did take them in the contest again. We've taken them like forever, and they've been pretty good this year. Now they're 7-4 or 7-3 against the spread. They had 2 straight weeks they haven't covered. Flacco's becoming an interception machine, and so they lose the game 30-20 against the Bills, who looked great, which is good for the Bills. Pittsburgh, we just talked about that, 2.5 points. They covered that easily with the Mike Williams touchdown. What do you think about the spot? You saw the game. At least I was watching the game intently. I really thought the refs screwed this one up. And I don't mean just, the booth review. If you watch the game, and I'm talking about Washington is trailing by 1, it's 4th and 10 at like the 50-yard line. I guess it was the 41. I think they need to get to the 41-yard line. So it was like they were at the 49 of their own. They had to get to the 41 to get the first down and maybe a chance to get a field goal late in the game. Ertz, first of all, was deeper than the stick, catches the ball at the stick. I thought that was pretty clear. He goes to one knee and kind of bends this way, and then they come on the field. They spotted the ball a full yard short. They spotted it a yard short. And you could see it on the replays, and when he caught it, they spotted it at the 42, not the 41. I thought that was shady from the start. And then secondly, they're like, oh, the call stands. They never brought out the chains or anything. It was really weird. And then obviously Pittsburgh got the ball back, and then the famous, Washington jumped off sides to end the game. But what did you think about that spot?
I think we should put a microchip in the ball. I think if
yes.
if that's not a reason why, then that should be Exhibit A. But
yes.
I don't know. They never gave us a good angle. There was never a clear, concise picture to go by, if you will. So it only gave us 1 or 2 angles, which is crazy because there's probably 30 cameras that they have running at any given time in that stadium. So I guess it was a little shady, but you knew the Steelers were going to win as soon as as soon as they got that touchdown from Mike Williams. You knew it was over. So,
and then the other thing I don't know if you noticed is that it was like a Pittsburgh home game.
Yeah,
I mean, T.J. Watt is pumping up the crowd. They're in Washington, guys. I mean, there was so many terrible towels going. I just couldn't believe. I understand that Washington has been bad for a while. But, man, they must have made a mint on the tickets because all the Pittsburgh fans were there. It was at least 50-50 Pittsburgh fans in there. So
it's not that far away either. It's only a couple hours from Pennsylvania. So
true. Very true. Anyway, we talked about Herbert and the gang with the Chargers. They won the game 27-17 against Tennessee. They're looking good. They're playing really well. Even though there's a scoop and score in that game, they still came through. The one game that didn't work out, and you mentioned a little bit, somehow the Texans were up 23-7 at halftime. picking off Goff left and right, had 5 interceptions, lose the game 26-23, but they don't get the cover. So it's just, if you're just a pick 'em guy, hey, congratulations, you picked Detroit correctly. You didn't cover the number, but kind of an interesting game. I mean, Goff went from like, hey, he could be an MVP to, I guess he's good old Jared Goff again.
Yeah, I think it was. I don't know what the hell he was doing, honestly. A couple of them were tipped. So I would say 2 of them were tipped, but I mean, the other 3 were just, they're underthrows too. There was one that was underthrown. He underthrew Jameson Williams at least twice on like deep passing routes. So I don't know if the timing was off or what, but they were getting pass happy against a defensive front that was kind of controlling the pace, if anything.
Yeah, exactly. Well, in the end, Detroit looks like the best team in the NFC, which is, talked about it. Hope you got your futures. You don't think they are? You think of the Eagles?
Maybe.
Okay.
Do they?
All right. Well, we'll see. I guess we'll differ. So let's go into this week's spreads. I didn't put in the bye teams, which, it's being terrible radio host here. I believe go fast. Giants? Here we go. We got the Giants, Panthers, Cardinals, and Bucks are on bye. So it is another 14-game slate. Last night we already talked about.
Those are all NFC teams. Is that weird?
That is a little weird. Yeah, that's interesting. It probably should be. It should be a whole division. But when you look at it, we've got the Eagles won last night and covered the number against Washington, so Washington drops 2 straight. I don't know if there's not much to say besides the game went under. You talked about Elliott missing field goals, but the Eagles played really well.
Yeah, their offensive line looks really good. They're honestly, they're bigger than Detroit too. They're the heaviest offensive line in the league. So they got Saquon. They just get back there and bully everybody. So if anything, I was listening to it on the radio a little bit too, but they were talking about how Kenneth Gainwell was in there on some of the critical third downs where it's almost like a dead giveaway that they're going to be passing, because they're not going to give Gainwell the ball on 3rd and 7 more than likely. So we'll see. But yeah, I just thought that part was interesting. But yeah, I mean they turned it around because they struggled in the red zone. They had like double the yards of Washington. They just couldn't put the ball in the end zone. Yeah,
Washington was leading at half. I mean, they were leading a lot of the game. In the second half, they just kind of turned it around. So, okay, so now when we get to the main slate, no special games in Munich or any place else. Baltimore at Pittsburgh is a noon game, which I'm surprised they didn't flex some of these games. But Baltimore is a 3-point favorite. I did this wrong. Is a 3-point favorite on the road this time, 48.5 point total. I'm conflicted here, Coop. I mean, all my numbers say that Pittsburgh is the better team. Actually, I know it's weird to say that because we know the Ravens are great. The problem is the Ravens' defense isn't very good, and we know their offense is awesome. And it's a typical Pittsburgh-Baltimore game. These guys are going to play rough and tumble football, so this 3 is like a perfect number. So I lean to Pittsburgh, but everybody that I've heard, all the pundits are all like, the Ravens are going to roll this team because Pittsburgh has kind of overachieved. And, Russell Wilson, yes, he's made big plays, but their efficiency is actually not that great. If you take away big plays, this team isn't converting third downs and stuff. So I'd still take the points with Pittsburgh at home. Tomlin is a dog at home, but it could be ultimately a stay away.
Well, that and the Ravens have the best rush defense in the league. I think they give up like maybe 3 yards a carry. They're right there with the Chiefs. I know they go back and forth each week which one's the number 1 rush defense. But to your point, that kind of Najee Harris has been hurt this week too, which kind of leans more into the Steelers passing, which again you kind of like because the secondary of the Ravens. So if anything, I like maybe the over in this game, maybe just for that theory,
right?
That they're going to be, but. I also feel that the Ravens could have a good pass rush game. I feel like this might be the game where they finally start putting some of that together. Is Kyle Hamilton going to play? Do we know?
I don't know, but I would assume he's going to play in this big game.
I mean, if he play, I would take the Ravens out coach. I think here, because they have to make a statement too. Because if they're going to be 2 games behind if they lose this one.
Yeah, I mean, if you lose head to head, I mean they haven't played twice, so they'll play again. But yeah, they're a game behind now, and it'll be 2 games with the loss. Right?
So I think you take I would feel most comfortable taking the over, but if you're going to pick a team, I think you go Baltimore. I think that's the way.
Okay. What about Minnesota, Tennessee? This is a humdinger. Minnesota is a 6-point favorite on the road, 39.5-point total. The only thing I'm going to say is, we used to have in Club Dub, it was a ginger only rule. You had to have red hair, and Darnold was in there for the first 3 weeks of the season. He is not doing as good. He's turning the ball over. He's kind of the same old Sam Darnold right now. I'm not sure why, because he's got all his weapons. So that's my big reticence here. I actually am leaning Tennessee plus the 6, which is crazy to say because Will Levis is starting. But is Minnesota that good? I mean, they barely beat Jacksonville. They did beat the Colts, but Flacco didn't play well. So, I mean, of course, Levis can give them the game, but plus 6 on the road, take Tennessee.
Yeah, they didn't score a touchdown last week, and they still won. So I think for that reason, you got to take Minnesota. I think the pressure is going to get to Levis, and Levis he's going to will Levis. He's going to do something stupid. He's probably going to give up a pick 6 or a sack fumble, and that's what's going to cost you your cover. So I'd rather be on the opposite side of that, hoping it happens as opposed to hoping it doesn't happen.
I gotcha. It makes sense.
So Jefferson might have a big day. Yeah.
Let's hope.
So we'll see.
All right. So, I mean, I do have Sam Darnold in fantasy, but since I've gotten him, he's been garbage. Rams at Patriots. Rams are a 4.5-point favorite, 43.5-point total here. We know what happened last week, or we didn't talk about it. The Patriots went into the Bears and just crushed them because the Bears were so bad, 19-3. And the Rams, they lost. They lost at home. It's kind of like, how does this happen? I mean, but Miami had to win the game. So I don't know. I don't really like this game for the Rams. I know you love the Rams. 4.5 is a big number for them, on the road, big trip. So it's a stay away for me or New England. I can't go with the Rams. I can't lay the number with.
No, I love the Rams this week. I think this is this is a spot where, well, come on. I mean, you think, look how the Patriots beat the Bears is like they literally got out coached. Like,
yeah,
Gerard Mayo is not going to out coach Sean McVay. So it's recency bias. It's what we've done for you last week. Because at least Mike McDaniel is a good coach. Like you could say like, okay, if the man out schemed you, he out schemed you. Like that's fine. He's he is in his own right a pretty good football coach. But yeah, to think that Gerard Mayo is going to out coach Sean McVay right now. This day playing healthy Puka, healthy Cooper Kupp. Yeah, no way. Come on, give me the Rams. That'll be fine. Everybody thought their defense sucked, but their defensive line is actually pretty good. I think they got
Verse is really good.
Yeah, Hurst.
Verse with a V. Verse. Mm-hmm.
So Verse is good, and I mean they have more picks coming this next year even, so they're going to be even better next year. But yeah, I like the Rams.
Okay. I hope they don't pressure Stafford because when they pressure him, he's bad. Okay, so Cleveland at.
Come on. What are we talking about here?
Don't pressure me, Coop. Cleveland at New Orleans. New Orleans, this is conflicting information. In the circuit contest, New Orleans is a 1-point favorite, 44-point total. In the market, though, Cleveland is actually favored by a 0.5 point now. So there's been some move on Cleveland. And, I listen to my guy, whatever, on this, the simple handicap. He loves Cleveland in this spot. I'm not exactly sure why, but I think I'm going Cleveland in this game. Part of it is, I mean, obviously you had the dead cat bounce, but New Orleans isn't that great, and obviously they don't have Olave, and Derek Carr is Derek Carr. So I would definitely take the point in the contest with Cleveland.
Yeah, I think Cleveland's the 401k player of the week this week.
My God.
I love Nick Chubb going against his defense too, because New Orleans
can't stop the run. Huh?
When you look at Wegs that index, if you look at the power index on the website, New Orleans is near the top for every defensive rushing statistic allowed. So they're giving up plenty of yards on the ground. Nick Chubb is probably the healthiest he's been all season going into this. Yep. So yeah, and it's a revenge game for Jameis Winston. So I think he's going to play well. He's played in the Superdome plenty, so it's not going to be foreign territory for him. Yeah, I love the Browns this week. Give me Myles Garrett. Give me the Browns. Yeah, 401k. Take it to the bank. Art Murphy, if you're out there, baby.
Yeah, Art. Art, this is the Breeders' Cup pick of the week. I don't know if I can endorse the 401k again because this is the weekly, annual, or monthly contribution to your 401k pick of the week. How about that?
Yeah. 401k pick of the week right here, Cleveland.
All right. How about Colts and Jets? Again, Jets, 4-point favorites at home, 43.5-point total. I know the Colts aren't great, but I can't. The Jets. I am done with the Jets. Do not pick the Jets, guys. 4 points at home. I don't care where they're playing. 4 points is too many, even with Joe Flacco. Sorry. So Jets defensive line. Blah blah blah. No way. It's Colts or pass here. I did take them. Oh no, I got them on my picks. So I've been dying with the Colts quite a bit the last couple of weeks, but it's not that I love the Colts, but I just don't think the Jets are all that. They have to win this game, no question, but +4, Colts.
Yeah, I think you play the hook here. I mean, you're getting 4. I mean, I feel like that's the number. You're playing the number this week. And plus, you got your regression with Indianapolis. I think this is the week that they bounce back, to your point. You keep getting on things too late, which is – yeah, AO. But no, I like and I also like Anthony Richardson coming back. I think his rushing ability will give the Jet, same thing you saw with Kyler last week, right? His mobility causes the problems for the Jets. So I think they could do, I don't want to say the same things, not throw the football nearly as well as Kyler Murray can. But I think those concepts, Shane Steichen will put in there, and hopefully they get it figured out. But yeah, I like the 4. I'm with you.
Right. All right. We agree. Bears are hosting the Packers. Packers are 5.5-point favorites here. We've got a new offensive coordinator in Chicago. I'm not sure that matters. 40-point total, by the way. So it's a really, really low total in this game. So look, values with the Bears, 5.5. But come on, dude. The Bears haven't beat the Packers in 4 years. I can't do it. So it's just a pass for me. Packers are pass. I'm not going to pick the Bears in this game. And obviously, I think they'll be a little bit better than they were the last couple of weeks, but not much. So, you like the Packers here? You like the Packers here?
Yeah. Give me the Packers for sure. We've seen Jordan Love get hurt already once this year, and then progressively got better. I think it's the same situation. He was really bad the first game back. He's got another week to get healthy and come back. I think he's gonna. I don't know if I want to take the over here because I don't know how many points the Bears are going to score, but I would tease the over if you'd like. If you want to go one way and then tease the point total up a little bit. But yeah, there's no way. There's no way on God's green earth that Matt Eberflus is going to outcoach Matt LaFleur. No. Just throw that man into the sun. Send him packing. Have a nice day.
Yeah, Pack coming off the bye too. They've got plenty of time to get things right. So.
Oh yeah, this is going to be a blood.
Yeah. Then we've got the Jags.
Jacobs might have 150 yards on the ground. It's crazy.
Yeah, let's see what happens. I hope they throw to Jaden Reed a couple times. Jags are going to Detroit. Detroit is a 14-point favorite in the contest, 47-point total. The market is 13.5. The great Mac Jones is starting. So here's my handicap of this game. This is Doug Peterson's last game coaching in the NFL. I think he's going to get fired after this game. They have their bye the following week. There's going to be, maybe it'll be close to the first half. Detroit has been throttling teams. I usually don't like them with a big number traditionally, but this year they've been playing better. They're back home in the Dome, at home. It's over. 14, I'll lay it. It's a huge number. Tough one for the contest. I'm going to have to talk action into it, but I don't think it's going to be a popular pick in the contest, and I believe the Mac Jones era, he will help them along with a couple of turnovers as well.
Yeah, this is my stay away game. I don't like the number because I could see Jacksonville's defense maybe hanging in there and keeping, I don't know, it close or maybe getting it's hard to talk myself into a Mac Jones backdoor cover. You're right. It is really tough to talk myself into that. The other thing I wanted to mention real quick on the Bears game too, I would take the Bears over in the first half just because they've been the worst first half team in the league by a mile. Them and the Eagles both.
Yeah, they don't score on the first drive ever.
So any kind of new I think is going to help, their point total. So, but no, I'm with you. I would, if I had to take the Lions, I would, but I would stay away. I don't like the number.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, last game in the early window, your Fins, maybe they're not your Fins anymore, but the Raiders are going to Miami. Miami's a 7-point favorite at home, 44-point total. They have played better last 2 weeks. There's a new OC in Vegas this time. By the way, that's the former Bears OC with Getsy is out.
Yeah.
So maybe the Bears can't pick an OC, by the way. I I mean, it's Fins or pass. It's just a big number. I don't love it. And Tyreek Hill, are they going to involve him in the offense, or is he just running around? Well, they can't catch the ball with
He's
his
hurt.
wrist or something. I know, but why? Then put him on the get him healthy. Take him out.
He wants to play. He needs surgery is the problem.
Did you hear that? I heard the story on was it Monday night that they were saying half the reason why he got hurt was because of he had a preseason injury, and then when they cuffed him, put him on the ground, it like messed up his wrist some more. He's gonna sue. He's gonna sue him. But anyway, what do you think of the number? You like Miami minus the 7?
Yeah, I think the Dolphins are going on a run. I think they're going to be 5-6 when they play Green Bay, and I think that's going to be the season.
And they'll lose Green Bay because they're awesome.
Yeah, so we'll see. But no, I think the Finns hammer here. They haven't hammered anybody all year. They have like one of the lowest point totals per game. Like they're 16 points per game, I think is what they're averaging. So yeah. And their schedule does not reflect like that point total. Like they've been playing pretty good defenses, and obviously Tua was out for however games, 3 or 4 games. Right. So yeah, I hammer Miami. They're gonna win by maybe 17-20. Something they might win by 20. You hammer them here. I think this is a get right game.
I will tell you about Miami is not just the Rams. You talk about verse for the Rams, but Miami's defense played really good in that game against the Rams. They were like crushing the quarterback and stopping the run. It was incredible. They played a really good football game.
Yeah. Zach Seidler was back. He's a big key to their rush defense. He missed like 3 or 4 weeks there, and that's why their run defense wasn't as good. But and they've been rushing the ball. Actually, they've been doing really well running the ball on the other way with Mostert and Achane and even Jalen Wright's been getting in there.
Yeah, that's the key to their offense. Okay, so the late window again. You've only got like 3 late games. I don't know why they're doing this to us again, but Atlanta's going to be at Denver. Denver's a 2.5 point favorite at home, 44.5 point total. The market is 2 for Denver at home. I'm all over Denver here. I don't even understand this number. Why are people betting Atlanta? That defense sucks. They cannot pressure the quarterback. They will give up, stuff on the run game. And as much as Atlanta has, their record is pretty fugazi. I mean, they lost it on New Orleans last week, but Denver, that defense is salty, bro. I mean, I just don't think they're gonna. I think they're gonna win this game for sure. I know when they play better teams that they step up again. And granted, the Chiefs, they should have beat the Chiefs, but a lot of teams they can't keep up with offensively. Atlanta, I just think they can get after Cousins and hit it easily. So it's one of my picks this week.
No, I'm with you. I think Sean Payton is going to be able to outcoach Raheem Morris. So, again, it's that classic case of offensive coach versus defensive head coach, and I think I'm going to take Sean Payton in that instance. So, yeah, I'm with you. I think the Broncos win that game as well.
All right, Seattle at San Francisco. The Niners are 6.5 point favorites at home, 48 point total. Tough one, Coop. All my numbers tell me that San Francisco is going to bounce back because they obviously blew it last week in the cover, but they obviously should play better. And the offense was moving the ball last week. The only problem is, listen to these guys. They think Seattle's coming off the bye. They made some changes on defense and all this kind of stuff. So like Mike McDonald's going to like rally up the squad, and this is going to be Seattle's best effort of the year. So I am staying away from this spot now, even though I was on San Francisco earlier.
Yeah. I think the key to this game is Seattle's linebacker play because they just revamped their whole linebacker group. They've kind of been trading pieces in and out of it. So Christian McCaffrey's coming back. He had like 6 catches, I think, last week against the Bucs. So he played almost the entire game, I believe. He only came off the field for like 6 to 8 snaps. So I think he's going to have a good day catching the ball. I would take San Fran here. Maybe Pearsall has another touchdown as well, but yeah, I think Christian McCaffrey has a big day here, rushing and catching.
Yeah. That's my thought initially, but we'll see what happens. And then the big game of the day really is Kansas City going to Buffalo. They play every year now, which is it's awesome. It's always good games. Buffalo in the contest is a 2.5 point favorite at home, 46 point total. The market is down to 2. Again, I wrote in the article, I think Buffalo's going to win the game. At some point, Chiefs are going to lose one of these one-score games, but can you bet against Mahomes when he's a dog? The answer is no. So don't do it. So I'm not going to advise it, but you put a gun to my head, Buffalo's going to win the football game. They've also beaten him in the regular season before, but Mahomes is a dog, man. He's like 9-1 or 10-1 or something.
Yeah, what's the rule? Number one rule on this podcast: when Mahomes is an underdog, you take it. If you can get points with the best quarterback, you take it. No questions asked. Have a nice day. So, no, I just, is Pacheco back yet?
I don't think so.
Next week? No, not yet.
I don't know. I don't know when if he's coming back.
Gotcha. Kareem Hunt could still be a threat. I mean,
yeah,
it's a go either way game. I don't know. I mean, to your point, the Bills are due one, and so I guess the Chiefs are too. But Buffalo's been more reliant on his legs, which I don't think is a good thing heading down the stretch. So I think Kansas City will make him stay in the pocket. I think they can make him make a couple mistakes. They've played him before. They know how to I'm sure they know how to contain the man by now. So I think they can get him to turn the ball over, and I think that's why the Chiefs win.
And if you like the Chiefs, you must like the under, because they don't score.
Oh, yeah. No, they don't. Travis Kelce's coming alive, though.
Yeah, and I think a key injury for Buffalo is Dalton Kincaid, your namesake.
Yeah, he's injured.
He's injured. He isn't quite scratched yet, but I don't think he's going to play. So it does hurt their chances, but I think they can run the ball. So we'll see. I'll be happy to watch the game. I'm not going to put money on it. We'll put it in the picks, hopefully. For the Sunday night game, you've got the Bengals at Chargers. Chargers are 2-point favorites at home, 47.5-point total. This kind of has dropped anywhere from 1 point for the Chargers up to the 2 that we're seeing now. This is a Bengals must-win game. So I really think the Chargers should win the game. They're the better team, but I think this is one of those games that Cincinnati digs deep and somehow comes up the win with Joe Burrow making plays. But what do you think?
I think the Chargers defense, even though they're statistically good, the more I look at it, I feel like they've gotten a little bit of, I guess, they've gotten just luck on who they've played against.
They've played a lot of quarterback changes.
A cupcake. Yeah, it's been a cupcake of quarterbacks they've played. So they're going to get arguably the best one in Burrow this week. And they're red hot. I mean, him and Chase are red hot. They couldn't be playing any better right now. So to your point, the Bengals have to win to stay relevant, and I think they do so. Yeah.
I agree with you. I'm reversing what I said. Dad reads my articles every week, and he tells me his picks. He always picks the favorites, by the way. But I was like, hey, Dad, I'm not sure. I might change that mind. I even wrote it. The Bengals, I think, are probably going to win. It's just hard because statistically. All right, so last one, Monday night, Houston at Dallas. 7-point favorite for Houston on the road, 42-point total. I don't believe Nico's back, but I don't know if it matters. You got the great Cooper Rush at quarterback, who last week was a sad situation. It was funny because what was the score at halftime? It was pretty close. It was like, 10-6 or something. And the second half was just a can of whoop ass. They just can't run the football. And, Houston's a decent defensive team too. So I can see why they're favored. It's just, 7 points. But Houston's, the last week they blew it. They know they blew it on their Monday Night Football. They get to take Texas. So I guess I'd lay it, but I'm not putting it in my top 5 or 6.
I think Joe Mixon has a big day that we want to take the Cowboys just because the possession game will be more valuable. And I think that would play more into the favorite or not the favorite, but the underdog at that point. So I think but I also hate the number. Yeah. I think 7 is like the perfect number. I think that somebody knows what they're doing. I would take Mixon over props. Also, we forgot to put curtains in the shed because Jerry just wants to tear down the whole damn stadium. If they just want to put curtains up, I don't know if you saw that. We should have put the sun in the shed. Yeah. Cause CeeDee Lamb couldn't see the ball.
Fault.
So yeah, we know where the sun's going to be, so we're going to build the stadium right here. So
we can't play any games in the 4:00 window because otherwise you're going to have sun in your face. Good call. Well, here's my picks this week.
Yeah.
Denver minus the 2.5. I know I got Indy plus the 4. Cry. Steelers plus the 3. I like Detroit to lay the wood minus 14. Cleveland plus 1 on the road, even though they're actually favored. And then Tennessee plus the 6.
Yeah, and I like Ohio this week. I like Cincy at plus 2, Cleveland at plus 1. I like the Rams at minus 4.5, the Dolphins at minus 7, and the Chiefs at plus 2 or 2.5.
Chiefs.
Yeah. So.
Well, I think I updated this. So last week there were some knockouts, which is nice to see. A lot of underdogs coming through. There's only 105 people left in the pool there. We did go 3-2 last week, Coop, finally. Nice to go on the positive side, but we still had a long way to go. So, what can you do? So what do you got going on this weekend?
Well, I'll probably go out to Homegirls after this. The Jake Paul fight tonight, so I might check that out.
Coming up soon, yeah.
I'm trying to think. Saturday. We're going to a Wolves game Saturday night, so that'll be fun.
Okay. I remember seeing
check that out.
Calendar.
Yeah, and then Sunday, not doing much. Obviously, football. And I got to go back to Ohio next week, unfortunately, for the funeral and everything. So, but other than that, busy weekend.
Nice.
How about you?
Nice.
What do you got going on?
Well, finally Whitney's coming back in a little bit. We're gonna have a nice dinner. A buddy who works at one of these fancy restaurants, so we'll do that. We're gonna go to this place called Lanikai Beach tomorrow, which is supposed to be the best beach on Oahu. We'll check that out. It's a little hike. It's a nude beach. Make sure you don't wear a bathing suit when you go to Lanikai Beach. No, it's a regular beach, dude. Any beach can be anything you want it to be, but I don't want to see naked guys like you walking around, okay? We got a pool party tomorrow afternoon, and then I can't remember what time she leaves on Sunday, but she's leaving on Sunday, so I'll probably just watch football and chill out. Nice. I haven't really done anything physically, so I don't know if I'll be playing volleyball on Sunday or not. So, and then the Ridge, and then the Ridge. I guess you had a run-in on the train with a loyal listener, Christina Ridgway. So don't worry, Christina. We're not crossing over with you and Whitney. I know you were hoping for, what do they call it in French, a ménage à trois, but that's not going to happen. So thanks for listening, and we'll see you on Thursday.
Oh, man. Yeah, there it is.
That's awesome that she came up to you, and you were like, who's this crazy person that I think is a fan? So
no, I love our fans. Are you kidding? I would do anything for our fans. Like I said before, I didn't almost recognize her because like the light was like reflecting off of her glasses. I couldn't hardly tell. I was like, I think I know this woman, And then I was like, oh yeah, I definitely know this woman. Like, oh my God, Ridgeway.
Exactly, Ridgeway. Well, hey, follow us at Side Action Pod on X and Side Action Podcast on Instagram, and don't forget about TikTok, Side Action Pod, and follow me at Wegs on X and on Instagram.
And I'm Coop. You can check me on Instagram at Dalton Cooper, on X at Mr. Grumpy Gills. Again, we are the Side Action Podcast. Make sure to check us out on TikTok, Instagram, all that good stuff, and check us out next week.
All right. Have a great weekend,
you guys.
That's a wrap for this episode of the Side Action Podcast. We appreciate all of your listens, and thank you for joining us. We'll see you all again next week on Thursday for some more hot picks and side action. Side Action Podcast, its owners and associates take no responsibility for the opinions or statements made by the show hosts or their guests. Statements or show topics are not necessarily the beliefs of this podcast, and opinions between talk show hosts may conflict. Individuals following the advice given on the podcast accept their own risk of losses from wagers made, as the Side Action Podcast, its owners, hosts, associates, or guests will not guarantee any advice given. The opinions and advice given on the Side Action Podcast is for entertainment purposes only. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Intro and outro and transition music credits. Song titles Jerry 5 and District 4 by Kevin MacLeod at incompetech.org. Licensed under Creative Commons Attribution 3.0. creativecommons.org/licenses/by 3.0.